Hey guys, Mike with Chassis Parts Online here. Got a little something different for you today. This is a front clip, frame clip. I guarantee you, most of you are not going to recognize what it's off of. This is from a Mitsubishi Mighty Max truck. The front suspension of these things, as far as control arms go, was the same from the late 70s through the early 90s when they quit making these, went to a different body style or something. Okay, and the question I'm having right now is, how do you get rid of, this is the front by the way up here, and that's the back. Yes, this is a rear steer. That means the steering linkage is behind the center line of the axle, which is unusual, as all your other mini trucks, the steering is in front. I mean, every one of them. It's the only one that's a rear steer, except for Tacoma. You know, when Tacoma came out, it's got a rack. Anyway, so this rod right here, this is what holds that control arm, because as you see, the control arm's just got one bushing going out here to the ball joint. Ball joint's got 3 bolts. There's nothing to keep that ball joint, that control arm from going back and forth, except this right here. It's called a radius rod or strut rod. Okay, but for a bag truck, that thing really gets in the way. So, and all the mini trucks have those too. And the way we get rid of it is by making this arm an A-shaped arm, where it's got 2 bushings in the lower to eliminate that rod. So it's basically an A-shaped arm, and it makes it sort of like a Mustang 2 type suspension. Okay, so, but this one and the Mitsubishi and the Isuzu are a little different in that they have a bushing inside here, inside the frame. Now, like Mazda and those, they have a bushing that's built into the frame, and the arm goes around it. Tab's got a tab on each side that goes around it. But the Mitsubishi and the Isuzu have a bolt that goes through there, and there's a rubber bushing inside that round tube right there. Okay, so what we do is, when I make this control arm, I've got a laser cut ball joint plate, and I've got a piece of tubing that goes from, say, here somewhere down to that. Okay, and it goes into one of these, basically, not exactly that, but something similar, and it's the right width for that. Okay, I'm just using this as an example. It's right width for that. And that tube welds to this DOM. Tube comes out here to the ball joint plate, laser cut ball joint plate. There's another tube that comes over here to the front, and there's another one of these right here. Okay, and you're going, well, what's in between it? And what's in between it is a tube. You got a tube like this. That inside that tube, I put a washer on there, and on the inside of that washer, there's a hole, and there's a nut inside there that's used instead of this nut that's under here. You take that nut off right there, and you run that bolt. You put this on there, and you run that bolt inside there, and it tightens up on that nut. Now on the other end, there's a threaded nut on this end too. Okay, so then on this end you've got a bushing, just like that. So basically that's how it goes. And then you got a tube that goes from right there up to the ball joint plate. Okay, so you got a triangle shape, basically, arm. It's kind of an odd shape on this because you're going from there straight out to here. So we got to go, or got to have a curved tube there and a curved tube here. It curves the same way over to this. And I used to make these back in the day, about 04, 05, 06 for Mitsubishi. It's been a long time. But nowadays I've got the access to make laser cut ball joint plates, and then on the uppers I'm going with a different style of plate that holds the ball joint a different way. But when we get to that, I'll show it to you. I've got those on order, but I'm not going to have them anytime soon, I don't think. Yeah, I got to get this turned over and get the other control arms off of it. I've got a set of these control arms in the shop already, but I need to get one side off of this and get it all cut up so that I can mock these new arms up and check, see how they move, make sure everything's cool with it, make sure everything's going to clear. Yeah, I know this is unusual, but this is how we do it. I used to make control arms for, I mean, literally every kind of truck, even an oddball like this Mitsubishi. You got some other ones, odd ones like Isuzu, and I mean even like the Love truck that was made by Isuzu, Chevy Love, and then the 81 to 87 that came after that, Isuzu, which is a different body style, and then the 88 to 95, which is another different body style. Yes, I used to make arms for all those, not to mention the normal ones like Toyota, Nissan, Mazda, Ranger, S10, and then full size. Back then I made which would be the 88 to 98, which some people call it OBS, but it's really not an OBS. Anyways, used to make those back in the day, and I'm going to get back to making those again. Till then, peace.